All right, guys, it is, what is it here? May 28th. Oh my God. We are flying through the year. I missed something. I realized after we got off our call last week, I had something I wanted to share, and we got into other stuff, and I just realized after the call, oh shit, I missed that. So I want to do that first. And it's an interesting thing that came through an email from Google, believe it or not. They sent me a congratulations. Let me find it here. Okay, it says congratulations, Internet Dominators. You got 2 post clicks. And I'll share the screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at. But anyway, just completely unsolicited, I get this email from Google. And like I said, it says, congratulations, Internet Dominators. Your post got 2 clicks. That wasn't the thing I thought was really interesting. The thing I thought was interesting was their copy here. It said your next post could attract even more customers by including, and it says, an attractive image to illustrate your image, or illustrate your message rather. And I've been talking about this stuff too in the ACT program, about how your images should be highly related. If you're trying to convey a message, you want the image to do the same thing. Remember, like an image is worth 1,000 words, picture is worth 1,000 words. It's the same thing here in your advertising. The next thing, look at this. I mean, what have I been saying? Conversational tone. When you're writing copy, you should be writing your copy as though you're speaking to someone that you know. You should be speaking to them in a tone that's just like you would talk, a conversational tone. And it says, look at what it says here. This is your chance to talk directly to your customers. So, I mean, that's pretty interesting for Google to be saying that. And then part 3, a call to action button prompting customers to act immediately. This is Google telling you how to convert. This is the same thing that I've been teaching in the ACT program. And this is coming right off the lips of the beast here, telling you how to do it with their program. So I just thought I wanted to share that. I thought that was really interesting that they would come out and tell you the same thing that I've been telling you for years. So it's nice to know that we're all in sync. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out there before I forgot again like last week. So anyway, we are free to open the call up here. If not, I got some other stuff that's been kind of coming in over the wire. So anybody?
Yeah, John, Gregory.
Gregory, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. So this thing called Alignable, and
Yes.
I joined it on a whim about a year ago, and every once in a while I'm getting a lot of people coming back at me and asking me questions. It's mostly geared toward the local, like here in Pico, Whittier area. But the interesting part is that people are actually commenting back on some of my answers in a nice up way.
Okay.
So what my point is what do you know about it, and how do you think that might work in expanding someone's business locally or even regional?
Sure. So what I know about it is fairly limited. I know the platform. I signed up for it, probably like you a year or more ago. And the reason I signed up was because I got an Alignable invite. Somebody wanted to connect with me. So naturally I'm like, okay, well, it's easy. I sign up, it's free, all that. And I didn't really pay too much attention to it. But about probably at least 3 or 4 times a month since then, I have gotten connections through Alignable. And it's basically people in Alignable wanting to connect to me. So all I've really done is just accept the connections, occasionally, you know, I'll say hi back or something like that. But every time, like in LinkedIn, you're allowed to send out a certain amount of connection requests to people that you don't know. In Alignable, they're not allowing you to do that. Every time you want to connect to somebody, like there's been several times where I looked and I said, okay, well, who's in here? And I look at the directory and it's like, oh, okay, here's somebody that's interesting. And then I try and send them an email and it won't let me. It says you have to sign up and you have to pay for this. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I don't know if I want to sign up for another thing like that or not. I had signed up for a couple of those that were attached to LinkedIn, and I paid for months and months and months. And it was like before you paid, everything looked great. And then after you paid for it, they just, you know, dropped you like a hot potato. And I almost think that it's their AI trying to make it look appealing that you're going to get all this business out of it. Now, again, I don't have the experience with Alignable because I didn't sign up for it to actually pay for it to give it an honest try. And I don't know if any of you guys have, if there's anybody that's got an Alignable experience.
I have a tiny bit.
So what's your experience?
It's largely been useless.
Okay.
What it does is it'll go, oh, some people, or respond to this question we think is related to your business. And so they'll bang you with various questions. Sometimes they're pretty relatable. Sometimes they're absolute hogwash, not even close to anything that your business is doing. And then sometimes it'll it lets you connect with people so many per month for free. And you can actually connect with people that are kind of outside of your area if you are recommended to connect to that person through an email. So otherwise it has to be basically in your city. So it's really, really localized if you're trying to connect with anybody. And
Did you
want to say it's like maybe 10 connections a month that you can
Did
make.
you do the paid version or the free
No,
version?
that was all with the free.
Okay.
And I got a little bit of like a tiny bit of traction, but it's resulted in absolutely zero business and stalled conversations because it's pretty much everybody's wanting everybody else to go to the, like, everybody's trying to get business for themselves. They're not really interested in the people who they're connecting with business. They're not like looking to if you're selling widgets, I'm not interested in your widgets. I want you to buy my widgets.
Yeah. Doesn't it say right on there somebody wants to send you referrals or something like that?
Yeah, something like that in the emails. But I think you're right with the AI and like somewhat deceiving clever marketing.
Yeah. I've had
Hey, John, I have a comment.
Yeah. Have you done the paid version?
No.
Okay.
I just do the free version, but I use it the same way I use LinkedIn or Facebook. I'll look for relevant questions to blogs that I've already talked about, and I'll write a few questions, you know, giving tips and helpful information relevant to the question. And I said, and for more information, you know, go to this blog or this article, and I'll have a link back to my site.
Okay. Has it led to anything for you?
No, but it only takes a minute to do this syndication and create a link. So I think it's worth it.
Okay. Yeah, you can
I've done the paid version for about a year and I stopped doing it because I actually got a lot of appointments out of it, but none of them amounted into sales. So it was kind of really not worth it for me.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of my thought. That's why I didn't get into it. There was another one. I forget the name of it, but I signed up for it and it was through LinkedIn. And I don't know if it was part of LinkedIn or if they were just portraying themselves as part of LinkedIn, but I bought a year's worth of a subscription to it. And I got just overrun with emails in my email box from people that wanted to connect, but they were all just garbage. It was like, it was a complete waste of time. So I finally just started sending them an autoresponder And once I started doing that, then nobody was replying back. So I almost think it was just robot traffic. And which that's that's pretty cheesy for a platform to do that, but I kind of think it might have been. Allie, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm on Alignable, and what I do is if anybody contacts me or if I have a contact, I write them personally. And if they want to talk, then we make a connection.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's pretty much, they, at the beginning, they said they're like a local business LinkedIn type of model. They wanted local businesses to connect and support each other. So I don't know what it's evolved into. It doesn't seem to have there's no wooing factor. Like there's no incentive to, interact, but that's what I do. I write people directly when they contact me, and I'll say, I'd love to have a conversation with you and find out who, if we can support each other in any way, in any real, actual way. And then, and then it goes from there. So
I had about a dozen of those as well. And I answered about a dozen questions, and I got a bunch of looks at my Alignable page or whatever. And it resulted in absolutely nothing. So like the conversations just fizzled out with everybody, and like nobody was actually interested in anything. It was like kind of faux fake interest at first, and then nobody cared.
Yeah.
So I kind of quit maintaining it.
You think it was robot traffic?
No, I think it was actually real people, but I think that everybody was very self-interested in it, trying to drum up business for their business, and nobody actually was looking for anything that you have to offer per se. Gotcha.
Yeah. I actually joined one recently called JVIC, the Joint Venture Inner Circle. And it was quite a bit more expensive. It was an expensive venture to join. And the way they promoted it was, I mean, it was very similar to, if any of you know Laurel Langmeyer, it was very similar to the way she does it, where she's got her big table and she tells you all the people at the big table are all the people that you need. And there's not a lot of truth to that. It's like, and this was promoted very similarly, as all the JV partners that you need are in here. And once you get in, then you can all communicate, and, you can do deals and all that kind of stuff. And, they promoted all the testimonials was, the first day I got my first deal and it paid for the whole thing. And I'm thinking, there's probably some good JV partners in here. And that's my favorite thing is those, not necessarily JVs, but affiliate partners. So I joined, and what I found was there was a lot of people in there. They're very interested in connecting, but they are just so green behind the ears. It's ridiculous. So they've pulled a lot of newbies in, people without lists, and they want to build lists. They're in the right place to want to do the right thing, but there wasn't a tremendous amount, but there are some, and the ones that are real, they know what to look for. So when I created my profile, a lot of them are now connecting with me. So I believe for me, it's going to work out. But I don't know, like somebody going in there new, all of the guys that have lists that know what they're doing, they're going to see that by your profile. Because, it asks you all these questions of how many people are in your list, how many offers do you do, how much is your revenue, your conversion ratios, your EPCs, all of that. And most of the people that are new, they don't have any of those numbers. So they just put NA, NA, NA. And the guys that are experienced, they're not going to be reaching out to those people. So, so I think for me, I think it will be worthwhile, but you've got to be, if you're going to try and attract the right people, you've got to have your numbers in place. And, so the idea of if you're just getting started and you're trying to build a list and you're trying to do you're trying to attract affiliates, that's going to be one of the big things, is they want to know that they can make money from you. So in the beginning, you almost have to like cut some outrageous deals to get the proof, because if you can't get anybody to promote you, you're never going to get your numbers. So what you might want to do with that is, you know, find somebody that's a perfect affiliate partner for you and reach out to them and just be totally honest. Just say, look, I've got this really cool thing, whatever it may be, whatever it is that you want to sell, and give them a free copy of it. Let them experience it. Let them understand that, hey, okay, this is good. And they will know if their customer base will buy it, they're going to know that. And let them know that they're your first one. I mean, totally be transparent on the whole thing. You're almost asking them for a favor. And a lot of times somebody in that position, they want to give back, and this is their way to be able to do it. But you can also incentivize the process. You can say, look, you know, I really want to give X%, but for you to do this for me as a first so I can get my numbers, I think you're the perfect partner. I think your people will buy this. I think everything will be great. We'll both make money, but I want to give you the lion's share of it. I'll give you 75% to do this for me. And, you know, by doing that, don't worry about giving away money on the front end. You're going to make plenty on the back end. You know, when you acquire customers, if you don't have a back end, you don't really have a business. You know, even affiliate marketers, it's not about a one-shot deal. You know, it's about acquiring a customer. It's about building your mailing list of customers, not just prospects. You know, if you could have a mailing list with 100,000 people on it that had never bought anything, and you could have a list with, you know, 250 people where half of them bought it or bought something. I'd take the 250 list every day of the week. Every time I would pick that list. It's not about the size of the list. It's about the quality of the list. You know, you can, there's a lot of people that are selling, you know, these big mailing lists. Like we've got, you know, 20 million consumers or 20 million business owners. And, you know, you buy the list, you send out to it, and you get absolutely nothing. And it's like, how is that even possible? You know, it's like that doesn't even seem possible, but I've seen it over and over and over. I've seen clients do it repeatedly. And a lot of times there's more than one problem. A lot of times, you know, you've got a generic list and then they've got a generic offer, and it's just, there's no matches. You have to have a match to get a conversion. So the more you know about your audience, the more you know about what they want, the more you can match that and make an offer that will convert. So it's just, that is the way it goes. And Greg, I see you unmuted there. You were one of the ones I wanted to talk about, if it's okay. I wanted to get your permission though.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so Greg is, he is one that, you know, is trying to do affiliate marketing, and he's thinking about going into the anti-aging niche, which that is an awesome market, but it's highly competitive. There's a lot of people pining for that. There's a massive amount of people that anti-aging is like, that's top of mind to them. Like the baby boomer community, they're looking to roll the clock back, and they will spend any amount of money to do it, because what's the alternative? You know, they're going to get old, they're going to get decrepit, they're going to die. So, I mean, come on, that's a pretty nasty picture to paint. And the writing is on the wall. They're seeing it all around them. So talk about emotion, you know, talk about creating a message that's going to land home and drive someone to take an action. It's like, that's the perfect storm. but just understand that getting to them is might be a little bit of a problem in paid ads because of the amount of people playing in the industry.
Well, actually, there's where my question comes in.
Okay.
I actually looked at the keywords for it.
Okay.
And it's massive because there are just so many things that you can talk about. So many supplements, so many treatments, so many new things. And some of these keywords have very small costs per click.
Okay.
But well, what my plan would be was to use the ones with the cheap cost per click to build the email list. And then once I have the email list, I can email to any topic I want and therefore avoid paying the cost for the high keywords. But that's not my question, because I did this once before where I tried using Google AdWords PPC. And I use Google Planner, I use a suggested bid and higher, but they were for long tail keywords, not too long, but I didn't get any clicks, and I even raised the bid, but I still didn't get any clicks. And what my theory was that I don't know that you can use pay-per-click for a long tail keyword, because Google is going to want to sell the click to someone who's willing to pay more money for the embedded shorter tail.
I don't really think that, I don't think there's any truth to that really from their standpoint. Yeah, they like to sell things, but there's a monster amount of traffic out there that they're searching oddball stuff. And the big guys that are willing to pay more, they've figured out the conversion. So what they want is they want to scale, and they have trouble scaling on those low numbers. They have to have so many of them. So I think you probably do have some opportunity there for sure. Another thing I would do too is I would take a serious look at Bing for the pay-per-click, because Bing has a predominantly female audience in that age range. So you might find that you can do that same pay-per-click and even go for better keywords at lesser cost per click in the Bing platform. You might also look at the Yahoo. I think they call it Gemini. I think Yahoo has moved to what's called a Gemini platform, and it covers not only Yahoo, it's several other large large communities as well. So that might be something to look at. But you are right. When you can build the list and know what they're interested in, then you can pretty much have your way with them, for lack of a better phrase. You get them in, you build trust with them, you give them, just keep giving. And you had said, you have some doctors on board that can give you
one.
Yeah, even one is great, because that gives you the proof. Like when you're making claims, if you can back that up with proof from a third party that's verified.
Oh, well, I can do also, I am very good at research. I do it professionally.
Yeah.
And I can give you, of course, to a lot of people, it's overkill, because I can give them, though, the references to the peer-reviewed articles, which have actual studies showing that what I'm saying is true.
Yeah,
which is great proof.
Yeah,
but no one. It's got to work that the people will see it and trust it, because if they actually try to read the article, they won't understand it.
Gotcha, and that's the whole key to it. When you do your proof points, you don't want to go into too much detail. All you want to know is, or all you're trying to do there is you're trying to make your claim, which they don't believe, you're trying to turn it into a fact.
Right.
So just by connecting it to the proof points, you don't have to dig into the proof points and get down. Like If you look at Crust, they did, 4 out of 5 dentists recommend Crust. That's the proof point. It's like, okay, you want it to be really short, really indisputable. Like I use Forbes magazine a lot when I make the claim of, a lot of businesses are struggling. I use the Forbes magazine to back the claim. And I just say, this is not me saying it. This is right out of Forbes magazine. That's all.
Right.
I just leave it at that.
And that's actually where I was thinking, what I was thinking of going with is when I know I have a reference that if the FTC challenged me, I could give them the exact citation, but I wouldn't put the exact citation in the article. I would just say an article in Harvard Medical School's journal shows this, and I wouldn't say what month, what year, what page, all of that.
Sure. You could even show it, like you could show an image of it. And like that's what I do in Forbes. I took a screenshot of the Forbes webpage where the claim was, and I just highlighted the claim. That was basically, it was just saying exactly what I just said. And that works really well because when they see the visual, they're like, oh, okay, well, this isn't just him saying it. This comes from a credible source. So it's a fact. So that's the whole goal, is to turn your claim into a fact. And the reason behind that, this comes back from Benjamin Franklin. He knew that all objections are based on beliefs. So if your prospect has a belief that's against them purchasing from you, you have to reverse that belief. And what he did is he came up with this formula of claim, proof, benefit to reverse the belief. So he makes a claim contrary to the belief, and then he knows a claim is just that. It's not going to stand on its own 2 feet. It needs some support. So you back it up with 2 proof points, which now takes it from just a claim to an actual fact. And a sane person won't argue a fact. Not to say there's not some insane people out there that will argue anything with you, but the normal average sane person lists, their logic will interpret that as a change of their belief, and it happens instantly. They can go from thinking that, this color is blue to you convincing them it's red if you have enough proof. And now all of a sudden their belief that blue is really red, and it happens instantly. So that's the whole goal with that claim, proof, benefit, is just for that instant snap of, okay, we just eliminated that objection forever. And we put it in the favor of them now wanting to buy the product instead of the objection preventing them from buying the product. So it's a really cool process. It's very, very powerful. And ad agencies have been using it for, I've seen it all the way back when I went back and started looking and digging and seeing where this came from. I went all the way back to Benjamin Franklin. He was the first one I could find that actually used it. So I don't know if he came up with it or if he found it somewhere, but he was the first instance that I could find it in advertising. Callie, you had your hand up. And then Lisa, I'll get to you next here.
Oh, okay. So, hi everyone. You sent out something about your affiliate program, and I just wanted to inquire about number 7. It says, in no way, shape, or form shall the affiliate promote using a solo ad. What is a solo ad?
Solo ads, and that probably is a misinterpretation. It's probably solo ads related to spamming. It's solo ad is an email ad. It's like when you go and you buy off of someone's list, it's basically it's a list buy, and it's to prevent spam. Like, and if any of you guys are doing any kind of affiliate promotions and you're allowing other people to promote you, you want to keep your business clean. if you have an affiliate that gets a wild hair and decides, oh, I want to go buy a mailing list and I want to put your name in there and promote you to a mailing list that's going to be absolute spam, that can come back and bite you.
Okay.
So that's what those rules are for. It's basically to tell the affiliates what is acceptable ways to promote you and what's not acceptable. And, you know, one thing it's not acceptable is an affiliate to be posing as you. So you don't want them going out there buying your brand keyword in a domain and setting up domains that look like it's you. You don't want them doing that.
Oh, okay.
If
So
it's
it would
kind
be
of like,
okay
it's
if
kind
I
of like
sent.
if you sign up for an MLM, they have a big block of attorneys that are making sure that that main company stays clean. So they don't allow you to buy brand domains that replicate, you know, the company name or have the company name or branding in them in any way, shape, or form. They want to have clear segregation that this is the company and that is like a third party that is just endorsing us. So that way, if there's a claim made or something that isn't legal, they have a clean runway of that wasn't us that said that. That was not us. So, and then Lisa, you had your hand up.
Hey guys, I'm getting my natural red hair back right now, so I'm off screen.
Oh, well, it looks great in the picture.
Yes, it does, and it will be again when I blow dry. Anyway, I have a question about Zoom.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people here use Zoom, and so I have a question and I have a request. So there's a May 30th deadline that keeps popping up when I log into Zoom that says if I haven't upgraded to Series 5, all kinds of hell is going to break loose. and I've pushed that button 1,000 times, downloading, updating, whatever, but there's nothing that comes up that says, okay, now I'm complete and now I'm upgraded and everything's good and I don't have to worry about it. So that's the first thing. But on the user end, because it just happens that I have this big, you know, how to make money in commercials for real people event on Saturday on Zoom. What does that mean for a lot of my clients who have never been on Zoom before and are very tech challenged? Like I click a thing, what's the you know? So I'm very concerned that this is all going to blow up in my face.
Gotcha. It depends on how they're connecting to Zoom. So some people connect to Zoom through apps. Like if you're on a phone, you're not just going to a website and putting in the URL. Like a lot of times, like when I send the invite out for this Zoom call, I send it out through email and it's just a web link. Like I made the pretty link, the internetdominators.com/Zoom. And I think I send you guys the raw link, but nonetheless, it's a URL meant for a computer. When you click on it, you're connecting directly through a browser. And I don't think that thing that they're talking about applies to that because you're bypassing the app. You're opening Zoom in a Zoom window through a browser. So if the app is out of date, people are going to be trying to join your calls and it's going to bomb out. So I'm pretty sure that's what that error message is about, or that warning. I got an email from them the other day that was talking about the difference between how people connect. And that's what it seemed like it was through the apps. So if anybody has, and this is the same like with any app on your phone, if you don't keep it updated, you know, you can go back into the app store and you can update all your apps. If the people on the other end, if they update their core, like we have this problem with our SitePop software, we run it on apps on phones. So when we go into our back end, like let's say there's a change in one of the Android platforms or something, and we have to do an update because it forces us. All of our apps out there, we've got tens of thousands of apps on phones all over the world. If they don't now update those apps, it can be a broken connection. So, we've got to send out the emails. We've got to tell everybody, if you don't have auto update on your apps, go in and, go to the Google
So,
store and click
Don,
the thing. And
don't want to interject. I have put in all of my emails leading up to the course that they really need to be on a computer.
Okay.
And if they want to be heard and seen, they need also a camera and a mic. But you know what? Here's the thing. I did this with KPFK and Christine Blosdale, and I love her, and I love the audience because they're real people and they all qualify, but a lot of them are elderly. And this is a huge block. So people, either have really old computers. They're definitely not on a smartphone. But for the few that are that, I'm saying don't put it on your smartphone. However, my concern is even on the computer, will they still be able to, and then this is another question. You know how Craig, for all of us that are in the mastermind, makes us register in advance by putting our name in this really long link, and then we get another email from Zoom?
Yes.
That then says, this is the link. I'm thinking of doing that for this event because, well, people paid for it. And I just don't want to float a link out there that anybody could come in that I can't keep track of. So I'm going to do that. But I want to know on the computer, is this all going to work fine on their end?
It should, yes. If they've never been on Zoom before and they just use the link, it should open up no problem.
Okay.
If they've downloaded Zoom software or something, all it will do is it will just give them a button to update the software. But
okay,
I think you're going to be fine on the computer. I think it's going to be the apps, the phone apps, that's going to be the issue.
Then I'll really highlight in my next several emails that people aren't opening, so I had to actually go and call a bunch of these folks. I'm never going to do it with them again. I've got to figure out how to get to my audience, and I will. KPFK has been great, but it's a tech challenged audience, and the bottom line is to be able to submit yourself to be in commercials as a real person. You have to use online platforms. So yeah. I feel bad that a lot of these people are going to come to this event and then go, I can't do that. So
well, here's another. This is a tip too for any of you guys that are using Kartra and Zoom. You don't have to have people register in Zoom. What you can do is you can create a meeting, or if you're using webinar, it doesn't matter. You can have them not have to register. You can also click the box for not have to use a password. And then you can take your standard Zoom link for your Zoom room, like what I do for here. It's the same link every week because it's just my standard room. And you can take that link, and then in Kartra, you create an opt-in box, just like a webinar registration or a meeting registration. And they have to put their name and email address in. And then in the thank you message, that's where you send them the link, because you already know what the link is. It's predefined.
Yes, I've actually been doing that for my other Zooms now, and then getting new people by asking them to forward the email that then brings them to the website that has the form. So I'm doing that there, but you know, the barrier to entry is actually having people read and follow instructions. It's just kind of terrible. But yeah, and so thank you. I'm gonna not worry about it. And honestly, if they can't figure it out, then that's on them. I have to just say that, right? Yeah. And it's a donation to KPFK, so it's not even me. I'm not getting the money, and so yeah. My, of course, purpose is to upsell them to the next thing, which I have already ready to go. The request that I had on the end of this is, I have Zoom meetings, not Zoom webinar. And if there's anyone out there that has, and like I've been leading Zooms forever, and I know how to make it speaker view, and I know how to tell other people how to make it speaker view, but I don't know how to set it so that I can pin the speaker so that they all see the speaker without having them go to speaker view. And I'm just wondering if there's anybody out there that can maybe spend a little time with me tomorrow just for fun to show me how to do that or tell me how to do that, because the problem with Zoom is you can't do it you can't show Zoom controls when you're on Zoom. So I either need somebody to be with me on Skype and share our screen so that you can show me what Zoom does. You know what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
You want me to tell you how to show the controls while you're on Zoom?
Oh, yes. And I'll take Judy because Judy has been so fabulous. And yes, show me how to show your Zoom controls when you're on Zoom.
So one thing that you can do is you can take a screenshot that will do a screenshot of your whole screen the way you see it, and then you can have that up, and then you can share your screen, and then you can point things out like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the only way I've kind of
Okay.
come around to be able to do that.
Okay.
Because Zoom, you're right. It won't allow when you do a screen share, they don't see your controls. They're hidden from the viewers. But if you do a screenshot of that's what you see, and then you share the screenshot, then you can show them what you're talking about. Like if you want to show them, oh, you want to go over here and click this, you can do that. And if you have a thing like you want to say, click this, and then the next screen comes up, you can take those screenshots and you can put them into a PowerPoint presentation, and then you can scroll through them just like, showing the click.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's for me showing other people. I need somebody to show me. So they'd have to do all that.
Gosh.
And for my Zooms, the problem with that, the ones that are technically proficient, that are coming on through their smartphones or whatever, an iPhone is different than an Android, is different from a PC, is different from a Mac. And
Yes.
my objective in these is not to train people on technology. My objective is right? So I go, look, guys, and here's what's worked. I'm like, who else has a Mac? Can you share with this person how to do it? And then it gets resolved there. But
Yeah.
I'm mainly concerned about this big May event that has, over 50 people in it, supposedly, on Saturday, and to make sure that, and also because I'm recording it, for those that go, oh, I didn't know about it, I didn't get the email, I couldn't make it, I paid for it, and this, doesn't work for me now. In the recording, how to have the speaker, whether it's, and I'll just ask this now, if I'm talking to my other, like my casting director is coming on, my Real People casting director, I'll be asking questions. And if I just want the screen to go back and forth from her to me, like, I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
Or split screen.
That is pretty much the webinar view. So if you don't have the webinar, if you just have Zoom meeting, it's just like this. It's got, it's like Hollywood squares.
Okay, but I can mute everybody and then just pin in speaker view. And when I speak, I come up, and when they speak, they come up, right?
I don't think so. I think they are in control of the way they see it. So you're only seeing that on your screen because you're controlling your view.
Okay. Well, I'll give them instructions at the beginning. If they can't figure it out, then at least I'll have it recorded on my end. And, that's what I say to folks is I understand if, the controls are a little bit beyond where you're at right now.
Honestly, I wouldn't even get into that. I would just get on there and do your thing. I wouldn't confuse them. I wouldn't, for them, it is what it is. If they don't know any different, they're not going to think anything's broken.
Got it.
So I wouldn't even mention it. I just get on there and do your thing. And that's the way it is.
Okay. And my thing being, if I put it in speaker view and I pin the speaker, or then I'll only see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then I'll do the recording that way. Okay.
Yeah, just do what is good for you and let them just, experience it.
Okay.
That's what I would do. And if you want to do the other way where it's just you and they call it a host and a co-host.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it that way, that's going to be in the webinar version of Zoom.
Yeah, I actually can do hosts in meetings and co-hosts in meetings too. I just haven't ever done it. So again,
But it's
and
still,
I would,
even if you do that though, it's still going to be Hollywood Squares.
got it.
All you're doing by assigning a co-host in a meeting like this is you're just giving them access to some of the controls that the regular participants don't have.
Okay. All right.
So, but the cool thing with Zoom Webinar, I know it's a little bit more expensive. It's going to add about $40 a month for a 100-seat webinar, but it does give you that ability to not have the Hollywood Squares. Like if you want to truly do a webinar, it's pretty hard to do it like this. It's even if you're doing
it's not about the money. It's about, is there anything different for me to learn? Because I don't have the bandwidth between now and Saturday. I'm so mired in tech right now from so many different things.
There's really not a lot. There's not a big learning curve with the webinar. It's pretty much exactly what you're used to. It's just a different experience for the person on the other end. They don't see the participants. All they see is the presenter. And if there's co-hosts that are on, that's all they see. They don't know.
Can I open it up to questions?
Yes, you can have questions. You can have Q&A.
Where they can be seen and heard?
Yes, you have the controls on the side that you can do that individually if you want to. Or you can just, they can just put the questions in. And it's not like they're seeing all the stuff in the webinar. They don't know if there's one person on there with them or if there's 200. They don't know. They can't see it. So that's a benefit to a webinar, especially if you're going to do, if you're trying to do an evergreen webinar and you only have a few people that are going to be on, and you don't want the rest of the audience to know, because if you've got a couple hundred people and they can see that, that's social proof. But if you've only got 10 people and they can see that, that's also social proof that this isn't very hot.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe I'll look into that. My only,
and one of the things, for any of you that are considering Zoom Webinar, I am working on a deal where I can bundle Zoom into our membership for you guys.
I know. When's that going to happen? By Saturday?
It's probably not going to happen by Saturday, but
I was going to just do this. Is there a one-time option for Saturday before I dive into buying something that I may not have to because of the lovely John Lindbacher?
You can do the $40 a month and it's month by month. So you can just do it for the month and cancel it.
Okay.
So you could do that.
Okay, something else to do. All right, well, thank you. And by the way, I see a couple of folks that have private messaged me willing to help, and I say yes.
Oh, awesome.
Judy's one of them, and thank you guys. I will definitely reach out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so Roy, you had a question, and then Judy.
Hey, I have set up Kartra to work with SEMrush for their where you can actually send somebody to have a web page analyzed. I forgot what they call that, local marketing or something like that.
Okay.
And
the analysis report.
Yeah, you had suggested this in a video, one of the original videos, and it's all fine and good, except it really doesn't tell them all that much, which is just fine if I can figure out how then to get back in touch with them quickly so I can explain to them what they're looking at. Because, for example, it gives the health of the site, and then it says where there are some errors, but it doesn't really tell them how to fix these errors, which I would like to be able to tell them. So I was wondering what would be a good way to get an email out to them, or in some way connect with them so that they don't get aggravated by the fact that this isn't really what they were hoping for. And I can help them with that so they can feel good, and I can also start building a relationship.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that is exactly what you want to do. The whole purpose of the analysis is is just to discover issues. And then you want to immediately follow up with,
Yes.
we can fix that for you. You know, don't worry. You know, you basically want to take them to the pit of hell.
And
But
they
you
will
don't
be
want-
there.
But you don't want to leave them there.
That's right. Yeah. And not for very long at all. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the things that you can do is, and you might try this, is see if you can connect a Zap using Zapier or Zapier,
Okay.
and connect a Zap. See if you can connect a Zap to SEMrush from your Kartra account. That way, when somebody signs up, it will send the Zap over to Kartra, add them as a lead, and then you can now also add a tag. And then based on that tag, you can send an immediate follow-up email. So you can set up an automation that says this automation, or a sequence, either one. You can set up a sequence, which is basically just an auto response sequence.
Right.
And you can say the starting trigger is this particular tag. So when this tag is assigned to a lead, fire the sequence.
Excellent.
And then that way your sequence is basically to get them on the phone with you. So your sequence is, you know, you should have received your report. Don't worry. I know it looks a little scary, and you know, that's just the way it is, but I'm here to help. And I would love to get you on a free Zoom call. It'll be a free consultation. I'll go through the report with you and explain how you can fix these things, or how I can do it for you if you so choose.
Excellent. Thank you.
That's basically the follow-up. And then you want to you can make an automation that if they schedule in your Kartra calendar, the sequence stops. And you can also say, you know, that sequence could go on like, hey, I haven't heard from you. You know, I'm just following up, making sure that you got the report, and that, you know, I want to answer any of your questions. I don't want you to feel like, you know, there's no hope, because there is. This is easy. You know, you can follow up with 3, 4, 5 different follow-up emails, but you don't want them to continue after they've scheduled. That's why you create an automation to kill the sequence once they get on the calendar.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Sure, absolutely. And then what you can do there, once you have your appointment with them, you can create a tag in Kartra that says, you know, appointment accomplished but didn't buy. And then all you have to do is you just pull up their lead in Kartra, and you just assign that tag to them, and that tag can fire another sequence. And this can send out a sequence following up with them, so you don't have to do it. You know, like, hey, it was great to talk to you. I've given you, you know, a lot to think about. I know, I get it. Here's how to proceed. Here's your next step. And just tell them exactly what to do. And be front and center with them.
Excellent.
And, you know, I'm telling you guys all the ways to do this. Don't shoot me, because I haven't done it myself. I'm lazy as hell. I am so busy, like, making sure everybody else is getting what they need, that my stuff gets put in the rear. I've got so much undone stuff for my own business. It's crazy. And I still come out okay. So
no shooting the messenger. Okay.
But that's how I would do it. Like, if I didn't have anything better to do, that's what I would do. I would go in there and sharpen my sword and start killing it. All right, Judy, you had your hand up there.
Okay. Yep, I'm on. Okay. You saw the page, Brady page. And I made, you know, on the top, how it's like home, about, clips, blah, blah, blah. And you click that, and it's, I think I did all that right, but it's still not working. You need to do something special.
Okay. Did you link them?
Yep.
And the links are not working?
Correct.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, and I've
I'll
done
look
it twice just to see, you know, and yeah, hold on.
I went into my Zoom and I made it to where you guys can share your screen. So
Okay, wait a minute.
okay.
Okay, move you all. Okay, yeah, this is the page, so
Okay. So what happens when you click on one of those links?
nothing,
Okay, so you're clicking and nothing's happening.
right.
Okay, so let's
But
go.
if I go into, because I have Kartra here.
Yeah,
hold on.
let's go into Kartra and look at those and see what's going on. Doing some serious building there.
Yeah, it's always slower when you've got
Yeah, there might be a little bit of a
Zoom up.
lag too on the Zoom.
Yeah.
So when that opens, what you'll want to do, you want to click the little pencil link for that text of that link. Or did you use a nav bar?
The bar.
Okay, so go ahead and do the edit for it.
Well, that's for the bar, but these were all each individual. So
Okay. So over each
I could-
individual, yeah, so go ahead and do the pencil there. Okay, so click the link tab. Okay, so you have scroll to a particular section in the page.
and the section was section 4. So it should go down to the photos.
Oh, so this is all one page?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so just hit apply. And then did you publish it? After you did all that stuff, did you go up under actions up in the top right and just publish live? And get the link just to make sure you got the right link.
Okay.
So you can just do it again. I've done that several times where I'll be looking at another page and it's not updating. It's because I'm not on the right link. So get the page link, just copy that and paste that in the browser, and let's just make sure we're in the right spot. Okay, so try clicking on the photos now.
Okay. Sorry, that's doing that.
I think you might have just not published it.
Or I might have something set wrong because this, like, I don't want it to have VIP services here.
Okay. So
he's under his regular URL is bradyfritz.com.
Okay, so go back. So that page is publishing. Oh, okay, I got it. So go back to Kartra for a minute.
Okay.
And go back into the publish again. Just want to make sure I'm understanding what's happening here.
Hey, John, I saw when she went through this, Judy, that when you chose no site in particular. Does that make a difference if you would have created the site Brady Fritz and then chose Brady Fritz
No,
to publish under?
no, that's a different thing. Click on the get the page code. And is that the code that's on the Brady Fritz site?
I don't know.
That should be the code. If that's not the code, that's your problem.
Okay. Well, how do I do that?
So you just copy that. And then, did I do that for you? Did I set that up for you?
Yep.
Okay. So you might have done some sort of a change here that I wasn't aware of. So if you send me that, if you email me that code, I will plug it in for you and then we'll test it that way. But I think that's probably the issue.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
So
So
you
then
probably-
if somebody puts in bradyfritz.com, it'll come up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because that code is the key. You put that code on the Brady Fritz site, and then whatever is updated on that page in Kartra should automatically update it over here.
Yeah, see, these work here. These all work here.
Yeah. So they should
Okay.
also work. Go back to the Brady Fritz just for a minute.
Hold on. Because this is a pain because okay, I know I can, because this is where I want to be and it's blocked by the controls. So
Oh, you can just slide the controls, just click and drag them.
not video panel. You can? Ah, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want?
So just go back to the Brady Fritz website in a browser.
Oh, but like the Kartra one?
No, just his regular site. Just bradyfritz.com.
Oh, wait a minute.
You had it in there a minute ago. There you go. Okay, and then just refresh. Do a, I think it's try shift refresh or a control refresh.
I'm on a Mac, so.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure what it is on a Mac. Try shift refresh, control refresh, and should one of the other of those should do it. Okay, now try.
It's doing it.
So
Yep.
it's working.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I bet it was just because you didn't publish it.
Okay.
So yeah,
That works.
that's something you guys got to remember. If you're doing updates in Kartra and you want to see it live, you have to publish it.
So question, why build a website on Kartra and not just a regular website? Is it for hosting savings or?
Well, for ease, you could build an entire website inside Kartra. The reason that I don't is just because of load speeds. Sometimes there's components inside Kartra that are common on all the pages that kind of hinder load speeds. And since I'm, the supposed Google SEO master, I need to be concerned with load speeds because it affects ranking. So what I do is I will build the sites in WordPress so they load really fast. And then I'll use Kartra buttons and Kartra components in the pages that I need.
So I guess why did Judy do that?
Well, she just did it for ease, I think, of getting it up quick.
Yeah, because he was going to be, on the Price is Right. And I'm like, I want to get it up there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it is really cool. Like if you've got a coming soon or something and you don't want to mess with it and you just want to build your page in Kartra, you could do just what Judy did. Take that code and you just literally drop that code on your index page in your hosting account and boom, it magically appears. Really super simple. And if you want to update it, You just update it in Kartra and publish, and it's live updated on the web. I actually did that with our Site Pop software. If you go to site-pop.com, that is a full-blown Kartra page. There's no website. It's just, it's just the Kartra page. And again, we just did it because it was simple and it was easy. And I don't care if that page ranks in Google. We only use that page. We push traffic to it. So I don't care that it doesn't rank in Google. But if you are building a website for your company, you should be concerned that you rank in Google. That's why you would want to build it, like on a WordPress or something that loads fast.
Also, I was working with John on building my website too, and I initially built it on Kartra, and it is absolute dog shit for SEO. Like for optimization, none of your pictures, none of your anything is anywhere close to SEO optimized for anything, let alone the load speeds. So you will not rank. We had it up for 6 months and still had 0 rankings on any keywords because it is that bad for ranking. It is perfect for funnels.
Yeah.
And that's what John led me to go to, is to use it as the back end for funnels or for link offs for funnels for your products and stuff. Do not use it for your main part of your website.
Yeah, it's the perfect accompaniment for a website. Use it for all your back end automations, your shopping carts, all of that stuff. That's what it's made for. They got pressure to turn it into a website builder, and a website builder, it's really not. You can
It was
do
like
it.
me.
Yeah, you can do it in a pinch. It'll get the job done. But
Yeah.
if you're at all concerned about building a brand and a company and getting, organic search traffic, it's not the right way to go for your front end. You can't, it's like building a site in Wix or, any of these other things where you don't really have access to the code to really make changes. You just have to deal with, what they give you. But one of the things you want to do is you want to add schema to your websites. Schema is code that is specific to Google, so it can figure things out. It gives the Google clues as to what your site is about, because Google is just a machine. It's not a person. It's a machine. The machine doesn't have true human logic to it. So it's trying to pick up clues to figure things out. So when you have a website about a cougar, it doesn't really know if that's a car from the 1970s or an animal cruising out in the wilderness or a middle-aged woman. It doesn't know the difference. There's 3 clear meanings for cougar. And if you have schema code, you can define what kind of cougar you're talking about. And then it knows, and then it will rank you appropriately for that. Otherwise, it'll just stay confused. And, like in the real world, a confused mind doesn't buy. Well, in Google's world, a confused mind doesn't rank. So it's the same thing. So clarity is everything. And in optimization, there's a lot of on-page stuff you can do to get that clarity so you rank. One of the things that Mike had mentioned was images. In WordPress, you can put image tags, you can put alt tags, you have total control. So all of your images can be relevant. Google gets, they pick up all these different clues from all these different things throughout your website as to what you are important for and what they should value and rank you for. And you just don't have that ability in most website builders like Kartra and ClickFunnels and Wix and all these online things that are just absolute garbage. Squarespace. They make it easy for you to build your site, but if you're doing something for your kids or for your just for your family or friends, that's one thing. That's what those are really good for. But if you're trying to build a business, you might want to build it on a real business platform, because Google's gonna know. They're going to know what you're doing. They like a barrier to entry, for lack of a better word. Here's something too. They look at, if you buy a domain, let's say you're going to start a new company from scratch and you need to buy a domain. You should buy the domain for at least 2 years, because what that tells Google is you're somewhat serious. If you buy the domain for 1 year, what that's telling Google is you're fly by night. You're probably going to do a ditch and dump, try and rank a site real quick. And if you can't, you're going to give it in. You're going to jump to the next one. They don't like that. You know, a real business owner, for $10, they're not going to buy a 1 year thing. They're going to buy 2, 5, 10, so they don't have to mess with it. You know, think about it. For a real business owner, for him once a year to have to go in and spend 10 minutes to do something to save, you know, it's not even going to save him any money. It's for $10. Come on. A real business owner is going to say, yeah, let's throw $100 down and not have to think about this for a decade. You know, that's the way real business owners think. They don't want to set up a, you know, something they got to deal with every year. So Google knows that. They're very, very smart. The people behind it, they know what to look for. They know what looks, you know, what looks scammy. You know, if it smells fishy, it's probably a fish. So anyway, all right. Anybody else? Lisa, did I just not take your hand down, or did you have another question?
Hold on. No, I think you didn't take my hand down, but I do have one quick last question, because I know it's way over time, is when you're doing these pop-up sites that don't rank and like that, do you just direct your domain name to the Kartra site? Like Judy bought
Okay, gotcha.
bradyfritz.com from GoDaddy, say example, but how is it that she's pointing it to Kartra and it's not coming up Kartra but just bradyfritz.com if it's
okay, you know? Yeah, no, that's a great question. There is a feature inside Kartra of how you can publish your pages. You can actually make a CNAME connection where now Kartra controls that CNAME. Like if you want to do a subdomain of your website, or if you want your whole website to be Kartra, you can go into your DNS settings and you can point it there. She didn't do that. She did the easy way. She just set up, she just set up a real web hosting account. And then we took that code. When you go to publish the page, it either gives you a link or it gives you the code. So we just grabbed the code and I dropped it into the HTML of her index file on her actual hosting account. And then now the magic happens where Kartra just pushes their content over onto her domain.
Got it.
So that's
but there is the other way where, okay.
Yes, there's 2 different ways to have Kartra host your pages. One is just to grab the JavaScript code, put it on your pages, and then Kartra now populates it on your website. That's a way you could mix them. Like you could have a WordPress site, and then you want to have, let's say you want to have just a Kartra landing page. You can just grab the Kartra code, drop it on that page, done deal. That's an easy way to do that, to mix the two. Because when you have Kartra, when you do a CNAME record in your DNS, Kartra now takes over that whole section. Like if you point your domain to them, they take over the whole domain, and you don't have the ability now to add WordPress to it or do anything custom about it. Same thing with a subdomain. Kartra is in control of that subdomain now. So you don't have the ability to go in and do custom stuff. Like if you have your WordPress site regular hosting, and you can create all the pages you want, you can just drop those Kartra codes on the individual page. That gives you the maximum flexibility.
Yeah, that's easier.
Yes.
And if I had my camera on, you'd just see me going cross-eyed right now. So
It's a lot easier than it sounds. It's
Okay.
really, I mean, it's as simple as if you were in WordPress, you do new page, and then you can pull up the header for the page, like you're going to drop header code in there, and you just take that link that you saw Judy pull out, you just drop it in there, and it's
Yeah, I've actually done that on my already site, but yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Super easy. Allie, you had your hand up there. There, I just unmuted you.
Thank you. Yeah, I just I wanted to know, as I'm listening attentively to all this website talk. So I want to create a website, John, for my original artwork and figure out how to use Kartra to, you know, create the whole back end. And I wanted to know what your thoughts are around the best practice, the best path. What is the, like you said, use a business platform. What do you recommend? And
well, as far as you want a regular hosted account for your domain name. So strategically, if you were going to do this from scratch, what you want to do is you want to come up with the business name.
mm-hmm.
You want to try and match the domain to the business name. I know a lot of people try and do an exact match keyword. That's not such a good idea. You should have an actual brand.
As an artist, most people use their own name.
That's fine. Yeah, there's nothing at all wrong with that. So you could use your name, and you could do that, you know, by the .com. And then from a strategic standpoint, from that point forward, now it's all about how are we going to catch the mouse? So what are the people going to be interested in? How many different categories of art do you have? This is going to come back to how many avatars you're trying to shoot at. And you want to create those sections of the site so people can feel at home when they get there. So if you've got somebody that likes, you know, modern art, they might not like, you know, old-fashioned art. They might, you know, they might have totally different tastes, you know, and I don't know the different art names, but you get it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So figure out who are your targets, and then figure out, you know, that's how you categorize the website. So when they hit your homepage, they should see those visuals and click to go to what they're interested in. And now they're in their own little happy place inside your website. You're not telling them, you're not talking about anything else. You're just talking about what's important to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Kartra, you would take those same 3 categories or 2 or however many you had, and you would create a lead magnet to get them to opt in. You would create a form to allow them to sign up and get onto your list. So you'd create a list, you'd create tags, you would create a follow-up sequence for communicating with them, and then you basically just generate those buttons, and you drop those buttons into the homepage or into the site where appropriate. So if you have videos, this is a really cool thing. Kartra has done some major update releases lately that are awesome. They have now given you unlimited video hosting. They are not charging up fees for overage on video views, which that is awesome.
There is a caveat to that. You can't have the starter one. You have to have something above the starter.
Oh, silver. Yes, that's right. You have to have the silver one. But if you were in starter, if you were in the starter campaign and you were getting enough video views and enough people, you're going to be moving up to that anyway. So that was a really cool update. The other thing, they just upgraded the platform itself. If you're doing subscriptions, like we do a lot of subscriptions in our Kartra account, and it didn't allow, like if somebody wanted a refund, like let's say you had an upfront fee, like we have people coming in, they're paying $4.97 and then $1.97 a month. And if they want the $4.97 back, we want to be able to refund them that back and still keep them on the 197. But prior to this, if you went and you did a refund, it canceled their subscription. So now they've broken it where the cancellation button is independent of the subscription. So you could actually refund an initial payment without killing the subscription. You can also now do a partial refund, which is really cool because you might have somebody that bought into your program and maybe they're unhappy. They call customer service and they say, yeah, you know, this doesn't seem like it's worth it. I want a refund. You could, you know, you have the ability now to say, oh, well, you know, what if I give you 50% off? I'll just refund you 50%. And, you know, that might make them happy. They might think, oh, well, at that price, yeah, it's worth it for that. So they're allowing that right in there. The other thing that's really cool, I was shocked when I saw this. I'm like, what the hell is that? I went in to address some support tickets. And when I pulled up a user to look at their support ticket, right on the side, it had all of their order history. I'm like, that's freaking awesome. Because I used to have to go over and find out, you know, who am I talking to? Do they actually have a paid subscription? Or is this somebody that, you know, just using my help desk that's not even a customer? So now it shows me right there. It shows me all their history, which is really freaking cool. So Kartra is, I mean, it just keeps getting better and better. It's an amazing platform. So.
Great. So would it be possible to, you know, I've been listening to you and obviously Craig and a couple of other artist mentors, you know, people helping artists. And people are saying to put like a video of me making my work, or I don't even have to be in it, or just talking people through, explaining something or other. If I did the starter part on Kartra, can you do it? Do they allow you any kind of amount, any video?
Oh yeah. Starter in Kartra, starter gives you everything. There's nothing that you don't get in starter. You just get limited amounts of it. And they're fairly generous too. It's not like you could do a starter account and it would give you plenty of time to ramp up your income before you would need to move up to the silver level. So
okay.
yeah.
And you can post your videos on YouTube and put them on there, no problem.
Yeah, that's what she said. You can also,
oh.
yeah, you can also put your videos on YouTube if you ran out of space. Like that's what I did. I had instructional videos, like when people would buy our software, I had, you know, a couple of different 1-hour webinars for best practices. And then I did several multi-hour Q&A sessions, and I put all that stuff in Kartra, not realizing I was going to have 1,000 people watching these multi-hour videos. And then I got the bill from Kartra. I'm like, holy shit, that wasn't a good idea. So I immediately moved them off Kartra and I plunked them over on YouTube. And then I just, you know, in Kartra, you can use the YouTube embeds really easy. So I just did that. Now I can go back and now I don't have to worry about it. So that's really cool.
Thank you.
There are a few things that are missing on the starter, because I have the starter. Some of the templates and stuff are not there. Like you do get some templates, but there's a lot more templates that I've noticed. Like when John does his demonstrations and stuff, he has probably 3 times the amount of templates and various options for different styles of websites than what comes with the starter edition that I have.
Yeah, it's just a limitation. There is one thing that is not in the starter. It's the agency platform, which they used to charge. Didn't matter what level you were on. They charged $1,000 a year for the agency mode. And now they have eliminated that, and anything from silver up, you get the agency deal for free. And all that is if you're let's say you're a service provider and you're managing other people's Kartra accounts, The agency version just allows you to access all of their accounts from within your account. So you don't have to log out and log back into theirs and all of that. You can just have access to everyone's account from your one control panel, which is kind of cool. So, and then Allie, I was going to ask you, you had mentioned that you did really good in New York and you haven't done so well in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that? Was there a particular niche audience that was in New York that you were catering to?
Well, I'm from New York, and I was an advertising art director. So, and all of my family's there, and I grew up there, college, Parsons, Cooper Union, NYU. So, I had people, and so word of mouth, I always got recommendations, and it was just nonstop for me. So
Okay.
I had a emerging artists art gallery on 54th and 7th, and I had a creative team building event company. And between knowing all the art directors and friends that were in the business world that had connections, they would just recommend me, like whether it was if they needed something original art for their offices, or if they wanted to do a creative team building event for a corporation.
Why did they stop just because you moved? Was it just like out of sight?
It's
out
very
of mind?
local. Like when you do, like I would paint murals with corporations right on, with their staff, or, we would set it up as an event, for team building. And then it was more everything in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut.
Okay.
So, and then to paint big murals, you're on site, and I would fly in, but it's very hard to crew up and to get all your painting supply, it's like you have to move the entire, wherever you're going, you're moving all the,
okay.
like scaffolding and,
yeah, that makes sense then. Okay, I get it.
And then in LA, it's very different energy, and it's such a sprawl. New York is, I don't know.
New York, they stack them 500 tall.
Yeah, you can roll. I mean, it's just easier to get around, and I don't know. I just, I left New York when the markets crashed. I left in 2009. And I shut down my 2 corporations because I didn't want to have New York cores open with no business coming in. So anyway, and in LA, it's
just different. Okay.
It's like I've gone to galleries, I've gone to openings, and people tell me it's very cliquey. So I think that's part of it. Like you have to know people, have friends to be able to connect with other people that are willing to help you. And so it's been an interesting experience.
I think I've got an angle for you. I've been kind of wiggling it around. When I flush it out, I'll throw it your way.
Okay, that would be great. So I started to do smaller work on paper so that I could mail stuff to people. That's what I'm gonna, and I can do giclées if someone wants to. The thing about giclée work, which is a reproduction of a fine art original, I'm sure everyone knows this, but it costs a lot of money to scan and color correct each painting. So like if it's going to cost me $400 to $700 to color correct and have it giclée ready, I have to know that it's wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
sure.
that's the and then you have to take professional photographs and retouch everything so it matches the original. So it gets into it's an investment per piece. So if I don't see a lot of interest, it's easy to sell an original, and I can retain the rights. And like Marriott, I could work with her and put them on calendars and cups and pens and whatever. I mean, I can make or create anything custom for any business. And one of the ideas I had was to work with some of the small businesses, even in our mastermind, to when you have, you know how everybody has, I'm in a different location in my house because I have we're having a spa day. We imported at my hairdresser, and she's got like four people lined up. So I'm in a different space. But you know how you have deck of cards, like affirmation cards, or like Deepak Chopra has success cards, and Harv Eckert had the Millionaire Mind cards. So, but they all have artwork with a quote on it. So I was thinking I could offer that if anybody, you know, there are a lot of speakers, and Barbara DeAngelis, the angel lady, everybody has decks of cards, and it's on art with the quote on top. And sometimes it's just all hand painted. So I'm trying to think of ways that I could be of service to different groups of people, and they make money and I make money, and we're all happy.
I think I got it for you.
Oh, good.
I think I got you figured out.
Yay.
Let me work through it a little bit, and I'll throw it back to you.
I have a friend who's also doing murals over in Huntington Beach a lot. And
who's talking?
Sorry. I
Big Nick.
was just going to tell you that this friend of mine, she's doing murals in like sheriff's offices and all over like public property in the Huntington Beach. And she recently just did a pickleball paddle art for that, and she did a brush painting, and it got laminated on these new pickleball paddles. So you might even consider like random products like that.
Right. I'm open to brainstorming with anybody. Like, I don't know if you guys remember it, when there was this whole thing about 15 years ago. They called artists worldwide, and they painted cows. Everybody did their own version of a cow, and they're all over the world now. And I was thinking, how could we launch something like that? You know, they've done apples and oranges, and you basically, I don't know how you work with the state or local city to buy one, but there's lots of ways to collaborate. And I was even thinking of that, you know, and they become an uplifting center of attention, even a tourist spot. Like in New York, you guys know the famous Love. It's 4 letters, LOVE stacked. And everybody goes there. It's close to MoMA, and everybody takes their picture, and you see them posted worldwide. How to do that, because I can paint, sculpt. I love working with glass. You know I don't have anything up much, but on my Facebook, there's a couple of things like I have one sculpture up there and a bronze, and you know, I've done beautiful glass work, which takes a lot of time and energy, and it's very expensive to do. And this sounds funny, but when you work with molten glass, it's called a glory hole. I haven't found a place that, I know this terrible language, the mind wanders, but you know, in New York, there's a place called Urban Glass. It's right in Brooklyn. So it's like I haven't found like easy to get to any kind of camaraderie in LA with artists. Like you guys from our mastermind, you're always wanting to help me. It's just, you see me like stumbling around in the mastermind, and I've even flown back to New Jersey and New York to paint murals, and I just buy everything I need on the spot, except for my brushes. And then I get stopped all the time in, you know, by the feds. They're like, what do you have in here? You know, I'm like, it's paint, you know? So very funny to get pulled over like a terrorist. And I even tell them I'm bringing artist supplies and paint and, you know, like it's in tubes. So I don't bring the big jars. But anyway, that's all. It's very interesting so now I just learned, I just buy everything wherever I fly to. And then so I have flown back to New York and New Jersey to do murals and to do personal commissions. which, you know, I'm gone for a month at a time on over the, if you guys know me, that's what I'm doing. So, but anyway, that's not, I'd like to have it be easier, simpler, and, you know, I don't mind traveling all over the world. I'd like to do retreats, artists and consciousness retreats all over the world when we're out of martial law. But that's some of the ideas I have, John. So.
Okay. Well, I think I got a really good one for you. But
oh, well, yay! Because my tribe, everybody's like, oh, fuck LA Alley, come back, you know, and I'm like, I might, you know.
We'll keep you here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Mariette, you had your hand up there?
Thank you.
Sure.
Yes. I just wanted to ask, you mentioned about, is it schema? How can I check to see if that's on my website? And I have a Mango Branding is a WordPress website.
Okay. If you didn't specifically put it in there, it's probably not there.
Yeah, and I didn't build the site, but I can at least let somebody just check.
Okay. Well, if you pull your website up and you've got it up on the screen, you can right click and then do view source, and it will give you the source code of the website. And then you can do a Control F, which is a find, and just start typing in schema, SCHEMA, and it will highlight the code if schema is in your code.
Okay, and if I don't see anything highlighted, then it's not in.
Correct. Yeah, because it will say schema.
So view source and then right click.
Yeah, it's right click, then view source, and then Control F is find.
Okay.
Just start typing schema, and if it highlights it, then you'll know it's in there.
And if it's not in, do I have to ask a website builder to put it in?
Yeah, you can. There's different plugins that you can use that are schema specific that make it really easy. They make it to where in the plugin you can just go fill in the blanks, and it'll generate the schema codes for you.
And it's probably in the Act. Is there information on that on Act?
We talked about that in the Traffic Camp. If you have access to Traffic Camp, I brought on Herc Magnus, and he created a plugin that does it's specific to schema, and it's an amazing plugin. They call it Project Supremacy version 3. And there's a section in there where I let Herc and Todd just spend an hour going over all the stuff that plugin does. It's amazing. So
I'll have to get the plug-in.
Yeah, there's that plugin. There's also other plugins that you could use too, just, you know, through WordPress. If you go into the plugins section in your WordPress site, and there'll be a find plugins, you can just type in schema and it will come up with, you know, different free plugins that you could use as well.
And you think that'll be a good thing for my website? Where I want to rank, for sure.
Yeah, any website, if you add schema to it, that's an on-page factor that has been proven to help rankings.
Okay, and then again, SEMrush is what I should check on a regular basis just to see what my site is ranking for, right?
Yeah, SEMrush will show you what you're ranking for. It also will show you what hot topics there are within your niche. So that way you'll know, like if you want to add content to the site, you'll know what content you should be adding and providing.
Okay.
So it's a really cool tool.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you so much, John.
All right. Well, it looks like we're to the end of our hands up and questions. Anything else before we wrap up for the week? All right, guys. Well, have a great week, and we'll be back on here regular time next week. So if you have anything between now and then, shoot it over to me, and we'll get you fixed up.
John, will you send me an email, or should I give you a text or about your idea?
Yeah, shoot me an email and I'm gonna kind of outline this for you, and I think you'll like it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Good to be on the call. Great call. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Kelly. Bye, Mariette.